Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids, and today we're taking a look at the Schrade SCHF24. Let me give you some of the specs as we start off. Your overall length, 8 inches, your blade length, 3.25 inches, and therefore obviously your handle length is 4.75 inches. Your blade material, 8CR13 MOV. It is a clip point blade with a hollow grind, and as you can see it also has that nice stone wash finish. Your handle material is G10, and your weight is 5.85 ounces. As we look at the knife, there's a couple things worth noting. You do have those G10 handle scales. You do have a lanyard hole at the bottom with an exposed pommel, so you can do some minor crushing or breaking with that exposed pommel at the end. And I'll hold this knife in my hand in a second, but that choil that's up close to the blade gives you nice solid control, and you can actually put your thumb up on top of the blade to get even more control if you want to choke up and do some really fine work with this knife. Here's a look at the sheath. It is a multi-position sheath, so you can carry it in multiple angles. Pop out those 2 bolts, and then you can readjust it so you can carry it vertically, you can carry it this way, you can carry it sideways, different angles. And then you also have these 2 grommet holes in the bottom if you want to run some paracord to strap it to a pack, however you want to set it up. The retention is quite good. There isn't any major location. I mean, I guess essentially you put your thumb here when you push to pull the blade out, but it does come out quite easily, and it does stay in quite solidly. You can hear a little bit of movement, but not a ton. And if you secure it properly, it shouldn't be falling out while you're walking through the woods. And then you can fit a belt through there if you want to carry it on your belt. Here's what it looks like from end to end. Your very cool G10 handle scales there. Lanyard hole, your exposed pommel coming back the other way. SCHF24. And there you go. Here's what it looks like in hand. You can see there is some jimping on top here. That is the only jimping. But that being said, it is very comfortable, and I feel like I've got a lot of control in it when I have it in hand. This is some nice jimping too. As I've mentioned in other knife reviews, sometimes you get jimping that's so aggressive it tears your hand up. Other times there's kind of no point of the jimping because it doesn't give you any added control because it's so smooth. This actually is, for me, is just right for this knife. And as I mentioned, you can rest your thumb up there if you want to do some fine work while using the knife. Let's show you the knife in use. I've got this piece of pine here, and at first I'll show you what it looks like to do some of the finer work as far as getting some maybe shavings or getting a feather stick started. Very easy on the hand, very comfortable to use this blade. And I'll show you what it looks like when you actually choke up here. Even more control of the knife that way. So that's what it looks like there. Now on the other end, just the end of the pine here, to show you what it looks like a little bit more aggressive with the cutting. It's got a big knot here, but we're pushing through it. This is the factory edge too. I haven't sharpened it up at all. So you can see from there, let me just put my hand here in the background. Does some of that slightly more aggressive work as well. Now, while I'm not a fan of the one item philosophy generally when it comes to the outdoors or wilderness survival, I think if you're going into those situations and you can plan, you want to have multiple tools. A smaller knife that's, for finer tasks, and then either a axe or a saw. My preference would be an axe. But if you get in a situation where all you have is one knife, could this knife suffice to do some of those larger tasks? What we'll do here is we'll take down this small sapling and make it into a fishing gig or a frog gig and show you that it can perform a variety of tasks. Now that we have our main pole, we're going to split this top 4 ways, so I'll show you what that looks like. Now this way. I'll get it nice and centered before you do this. Now this is very basic here, and I'm doing it pretty quickly, but you can see the concept here. I've split it using these sticks to wedge the 4 prongs apart, and now we'll sharpen those up. Just for the sake of time here, because the sun is going down, I'm out in the woods, let me show you just what the first prong looks like as I've started to sharpen it up. And you can see that's quite a fine point there. I haven't put the barbs in there yet, and I haven't shaved off all the bark. And so that would take a little bit more time, but you can see I've done all that work. Let me just hold it up a little bit closer for you. Done all that work from the batoning to splitting to that finer work with the SCHF24. Evening is falling here in the New Hampshire woods, so before the sun goes down, let me give you some final thoughts on the SCHF24. The first thing I'll tell you is that this knife is now going to replace the SCHF13 as far as my small survival knife that I keep with me in my everyday carry bag so I can head out into the woods and work on some skills from time to time. The overall style of this, the size, the weight, the shape of the blade, everything, I just really like this. I still do like the SCHF13, but I like this one even more. I've been waiting to get my hands on this one, and I've been very impressed with it. As you can see, here's the beginning of my gig. Still have some more work to do, but here's some thoughts on the SCHF24. Very comfortable in hand. Again, you can hold it like so, or you can choke up and hold it further up on the blade for that fine work. I've beat on it quite a bit, and it still seems to be holding up, and the edge it's retaining is quite nice. The shape of the blade allows for some larger work, and also for that finer work when I had to get into, in between here to do some shaving of this first point. Because of the shape of the blade, I could do that quite easily. Some larger bellied blades or some larger blades, it's just hard to do to get into those tighter spots. The sheath, I like that it's multiple position, and it is that essentially kydex that you can throw on your belt or you can throw it in a bag, and the retention is good, nicely made, and the price point, again, around $30 to $35 for this blade, I think is an excellent deal. I want to encourage you to check out the SCHF24 from Schrade. If you're looking for a compact fixed blade for camping, survival, or other applications, this may be the one for you. As always, thank you for checking out our videos. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids here on YouTube if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and check us out on Tumblr. More videos coming soon. Take care.